Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, it's Jesse with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things nerdy through a common sense lens. And obviously, Sydney Sweeney has become an absolute cultural icon, right? Everybody talks about her. She makes headlines all the time, a lot of it for the very right reasons, you'd think, and a lot of it for some of the reasons that you all laugh at and think are ridiculous, right? Because, hey, that's the way folks are. And yes, I do apologize, Common Nerd still feels like a frog. We were sick for 7 days, and the voice ain't quite there yet, but we're getting there, boys and girls. We're getting back to it. But at the end of the day, it's one of them funny situations where there you go. You get Common Nerd raw and unedited, boys and girls. But needless to say, the one problem Sydney Sweeney's kind of really had, though, is her box office really haven't done all that well. And given, obviously, we're big fans of Sydney Sweeney, I think she's one of the few actual common sense reasonable chicks out there left inside of Hollywood. She pushes back against the agenda. She pushes back against the BS. She calls Hollywood out for their nonsense all of the time. So it's just a wonderful, fabulous thing to see. Well, the curse that has plagued her at the box office for a very long time seems to have finally been broken, boys and girls, because, ladies and gentlemen, Sydney Sweeney's latest, Housemaid, is actually doing quite well at the box office and will probably end up making a very nice, healthy profit, and is even doing well in the United Kingdom, of all places, boys and girls. And that's exactly what we've got to talk about right here. And of course, there is some lovely pictures of our dear sweet Sydney in here, because if you don't remember, boys and girls, Housemaid is the premiere that got to all of us to see Sydney Sweeney being put into this corset and into this dress. Shout out to a girl who really knows how to use her social media. So we're going to check out this article. We're going to get all the juicy details of how well Housemaid is doing at the box office and how this breaks what she's been doing over the last few years. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are back at it. We are grinding. We are growing. We just crossed 2,500 over there on YouTube. We're inching our way closer and closer to 1,500 over on the Green Machine, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. What do you think about this? Have you seen a lot of Sydney Sweeney's movies? Do you think she's a good actress and just ends up getting in a lot of underdeveloped roles that just simply don't go very far? Do you love her on Euphoria? What are the latest things you've seen? Did you see The Housemaid, and did you enjoy it? Let us know what you think about all of that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you'd like to support the channel and become a member of the Nerd Herd, helping us maintain those 100 members, we need to keep the lights on around here. And definitely, please check out the links in the description down below. All right, boys and girls, from dailymail.co.uk. And our dear sweet Alex Doyle. Shout out to Alex. Thank you for writing this article, buddy. Sydney Sweeney's box office flop streak officially ends as her new film, The Housemaid, pulls in millions during its first 3 days, which is exactly what you want to hear about. And this is not a movie. This is not some big spectacle. I mean, we should probably look up what The Housemaid's actual budget is. I don't think they got it in this article, but I can't imagine it's more than 30, 40, $50 million. So if this thing cracks 100, 150 globally, it'll do just fine and put them well within the profitability sphere. And you know what? Sydney Sweeney got a nice little bag off this movie either way. Sydney Sweeney's luck has finally turned around as her new movie raked in millions in its first days after its premiere. The actress, 28, stars in the thriller The Housemaid alongside Amanda Seyfried, who isn't too bad to look at either, Brandon Skellner, Elizabeth Perkins, Melissa Monroe, and Indiana Ellie. Sydney, who has been left embarrassed after a recent movie's flopped, I don't think she really cares all that much. But hey, you're doing a job, it doesn't do very successfully at the box office, doesn't actually make a profit, anybody, that's going to ding them a little bit. Plays a troubled young woman who takes a live-in role with a volatile family that are hiding dark secrets. Dun, dun, dun. And you know, this sounds more like a thriller kind of horror movie, and those generally do pretty well at the box office. And honestly, nobody's going to complain about Sydney Sweeney becoming a horror film fan, a horror film star at all. She's believed to have pocketed £5.6 million, which normally works out probably about $5.8 million US. The Housemaid is based off of Frederick's novel, which was released in 2022. Early figures show the flick is a success, pulling in an impressive $4.4 million in its first 3 days after its UK premiere on Boxing Day, which the movie did really well on I'm like on Boxing Day over there as well. But 4.4 million, I know doesn't sound a lot because we're normally used to talking about domestic box offices in the US, which are normally in the 10s, 20s, $30 million range. But for the United Kingdom, 4.4 million. I mean, that literally that country has what, like 2.5 million people, or like 10, 15, 20, 80 million people living in the entire country, right? That's a lot of people to go see a movie out there. So needless to say, not bad money. Not bad money. And of course, I don't think any of us are complaining about it. And obviously, this is more one of those kind of toned down roles for her, which of course is why the premiere looked so lovely. But yeah, things are going nuts. If you haven't seen the trailer for it, go check it out. It looks creepy, it looks wild, and it looks like a fun ride. Boys and girls, for all the thriller fans out there. The Housemaid did beat the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants, and Timothy Chalamet's Marty Supreme, which also did have a really, really good Christmas day over here as well. So we'll have to see what else they've got, because I know they've got some of the domestic numbers in here. Speaking about a potential sequel to The Housemaid, Sydney said, I think that we'll just have to wait and see. I hope that the audience loves the movie just like we love the books, and we can continue to hopefully share that love within more films. Well, obviously, this is a book series. Now, I don't know anything about this book series. I am just your humble common nerd after all. But at the end of the day, it's one of those situations where if they've got more books to tell and this thing made financial success, right? If it made a profit, I mean, we know what Hollywood does nowadays. It's sequel, if they made a profit, even in the slightest, right? And I mean, the Five Nights at Freddy's movies are a great example, right? Keep your budgets low, which normally thriller and horror movies are really good about that kind of thing. Keep your budgets low. And as long as you don't, as long as you crack 100 million, 50 million in some cases, you make a profit. And that's all you really need to do to keep moving forward on a franchise, especially in this day and age in Hollywood. Basically, if you don't lose $100 million, you're probably getting a sequel. That's how desperate Hollywood is at this point. Which, of course, now we can talk about some of the other stuff. Sydney's newfound success comes after recent movies such as Americana, Eden, and Christie failed to connect with viewers. And Christie wasn't one of those movies that was meant to get to a general audience. It was about this very, although obscure to most people, well-known like lesbian icon boxer from like back in the 80s. Like Sydney Sweeney completely and totally like transformed her body for the role. She put on all muscle. I mean, she looked like a boxer. And then, of course, she got backlash from all of the alphabet soup mafia out there because, oh my God, she's playing a gay icon and she's obviously a conservative and a supporter of Trump. And oh my God, how could you? And then, like, literally, Christie, the actual Christie's like, I love Sydney. She's an ally. She's fabulous. And she did an incredible job of bringing my story to the screen. So screw all of you people. And I love that. You couldn't get much better than that on the whole situation out there. So it was a lot of fun. It actually worked out really, really well for all of us out there. Last year, Sydney Sweeney caused controversy when she collaborated with her American Eagle jeans for an advert with the tagline, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans. And she did. And she does. And the pun was funny because it's about a jeans ad. But because Sydney Sweeney doesn't toe the line in Hollywood, they will use any excuse they can to attack her. And that's exactly what they did. American Eagle didn't change their ways on this. Sydney Sweeney didn't apologize. If anything, there was an interview and she was like, no, you all are stupid. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing. She's a much more classier lady to explain all of that stuff. But no, she pulls it out. There's another article that was a great time where somebody asked her about, oh, what do you think of women supporting women out there in Hollywood? And how successful do you think that is? And she was like, it's BS. It's nonsense. They are all a bunch of backstabbing witches that will think that there can be only one female Hollywood star for some reason, even though there's a million roles out there and plenty of money to go around, right? And she's like, no, it's all BS. It's all nonsense. So that's one of the many reasons why we love Sydney Sweeney around here, because she's a no-nonsense, she's straightforward, and she's gorgeous, beautiful, and knows how to use her sex appeal. And there's nothing wrong with that. God gifted her with some of the most fabulous features that Hollywood has probably seen in honestly 20 years, if not longer, right? And she's going to flaunt them and she's going to use that. And you know what? More power to it, because this is actual female empowerment. This is understanding and knowing your strengths and utilizing them to be a success. And that's what Sydney Sweeney's doing. And she's done it without the help of the cult, without kneeling down and bowing to all of their nonsense and BS. And that's why they hate her the most. So make sure you guys leave comments down below, hit the like and share button and all of that kind of fun stuff out there, because these videos don't get very much good in the algorithm, and we know why. Because Sydney Sweeney is the antithesis to absolutely every single thing that Hollywood hates and wants to destroy. She's gorgeous. She's fabulous. She's smart. She's sassy. And she doesn't put up with any of the BS. And finally, after a very hard, stretched out career, she has finally now broken her box office Hollywood streak. And honestly, The Housemaid deserves it. The trailers look great. The movie looks awesome. And honestly, if I wasn't for the fact that I was a working poor YouTuber, I probably would have went and saw this on the opening weekend and told you guys how much we loved it and reviewed it the whole nines for you. But at the end of the day, that's the way things go. But The Housemaid is far from over, boys and girls. I'd imagine this movie, because it's a horror thriller and the reviews are pretty good so far, this thing's going to end up having some legs. It's going to end up having some staying power, and it's now officially broke the Sydney Sweeney curse at the box office. It's only up and away from here for her, boys and girls. And trust me, there ain't a single power in Hollywood that's going to stop her, because as we've always talked about around here, fans and audience decide what succeeds and what fails, and they definitely want to see The Housemaid and Sydney Sweeney succeed.
If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, make sure you smash that like and subscribe or follow button, depending on what platform you're on. And of course, a big shout out to all of our subscribers and members. You are the grease between our gears, keeping this machine running. And I could not do this without every single one of you.